Many have said that after listening to this story, their sleep at night has disappeared forever. There's a strange silence around today, but the shadows hidden behind that darkness may be a little more alive today. Use headphones now to feel every word of the story. I am Azad, with you on today's chilling event of Gachomchom. Today we will listen to the horrific gachomchom story of Rayhan's life. So why delay? Let's get started. It all began back in high school, during those restless days when boredom felt heavier than fear. I had two close friends, Jason and Brian. The three of us were inseparable, always looking for something to do, somewhere to go, some small adventure to break the monotony. But everything changed after graduation. Jason moved away to Lexington, South Carolina because of his father's job. A few weeks later, Brian and I were invited to visit him for the weekend. At first, everything felt normal, catching up, laughing, reliving old memories. But by the second day, boredom crept in again. That's when we made a decision that would stay with me for the rest of my life. We decided to go hiking. Not on a marked trail, not with a map, just wandering. Near Jason's new home stretched a vast forest, blending into open countryside. It looked peaceful, almost too peaceful. We eventually came across a scenic river, its water flowing quietly, reflecting the pale afternoon sun. It felt calming, like the kind of place where nothing bad could ever happen. That illusion didn't last long. We walked for what felt like hours, talking, joking, until suddenly we realized something unsettling. We were lost. Completely lost. The forest had swallowed every recognizable landmark. The silence around us grew heavier, pressing in from all sides. Even the river, once comforting, now felt like a trap. We couldn't tell which way was upstream or downstream anymore. No roads, no voices, no signs of civilization. Just trees and silence. Panic slowly began to set in. "We should find a phone," Brian muttered, his voice tighter than usual. Jason nodded, though he looked just as unsure. "Yeah, maybe someone lives nearby." So we kept following the river, hoping desperately that it would lead us somewhere, anywhere. That's when we saw it. Through the thick overgrowth and tangled bushes, something unnatural appeared. A structure, an old building. As we got closer, the shape became clearer. It was a church, but not the kind you'd expect. The building was made of faded red bricks, worn down by time and neglect. The surrounding area was overrun with weeds and creeping vines, as if nature itself was trying to reclaim it. A dirt road led up to a small parking area, where several old cars sat in eerie stillness. There were 4 of them, lined up side by side, all white, or at least they used to be. Now they were covered in rust, dirt, and decay. Their tires were flat, some missing entirely. They looked like they hadn't moved in decades. Yet something felt off. As we stepped closer, a faint sound drifted through the air. Music, soft, distorted, but unmistakable. Gospel singing. We froze. "There are people inside," Jason whispered, relief mixed with confusion. Relief won. We approached the church doors, our footsteps crunching against the dry dirt. The sound of singing grew louder, echoing unnaturally through the structure. I remember thinking, if people are here, why does this place feel so dead? Jason pushed the door open slightly, and we peeked inside. A dimly lit hall stretched before us. Rows of wooden pews filled the room, occupied by what looked like 24 people. They were dressed in old, worn clothing, trying to look presentable, but clearly struggling. At the front, an elderly woman with white hair and thick glasses sat at a piano playing slowly as the others sang. For a moment, everything seemed normal. Then, we stepped inside, and everything changed. The piano stopped. Instantly, the woman's hands froze mid-note. She slowly turned her head toward us, her face completely blank, devoid of emotion. And then, every single person in that church stopped singing. One by one, they lowered their song sheets, and in perfect, unnatural synchronization, they turned their heads toward us, their eyes locked onto us. Cold, empty, unwelcoming. The room fell into a suffocating silence. Not a whisper, not a breath, just the faint creaking of old wood beneath their unmoving bodies. Jason swallowed hard. "We're sorry to interrupt. We got lost. Can we use a phone to call our parents?" No response. No movement. Nothing. They just stared. And in that moment, I felt it. That deep, instinctive fear, the kind that tells you, you shouldn't be here. We slowly began backing away, not daring to break eye contact. The door creaked softly behind us, and the second we were outside, we didn't say a word. We just looked at each other, because we all felt it. Something was very, very wrong. The moment the church door shut behind us, the air outside felt just as heavy, if not worse. None of us spoke at first. We didn't need to. That silence inside the church, it had followed us out. Brian was the first to break it, his voice low and uneasy. "Did you see their faces?" Jason nodded slowly. "Yeah, that wasn't normal." I tried to brush it off, but even I couldn't ignore the feeling crawling under my skin. Maybe they're just weird locals or something. But deep down, I didn't believe that. We started walking away from the church, following the dirt road that led out of the overgrown clearing. Each step felt rushed, tense, like we were trying to put as much distance as possible between us and whatever we had just walked into. Then Brian suddenly stopped. "Wait," he said. We both turned to him. There were no crosses in there. A chill ran down my spine. No crosses, no religious symbols, no sign that it was even a real church, just people pretending. Slowly, we turned around, and what we saw made my stomach drop. Standing outside the church were them. At least a dozen men had stepped out onto the front area. They stood in a loose line, perfectly still, staring directly at us, watching, not talking, not moving, just watching. The distance didn't matter. You could feel their eyes, locked onto us, unblinking, unnatural. "Don't look," Jason whispered sharply. "Just keep walking." But it was too late. The fear had already taken hold. We turned back around and started walking faster, and then we were running. Our footsteps pounded against the dirt road as panic took over. Branches snapped beneath our feet. Dry leaves crackled as we sprinted blindly forward. No one dared to look back, but it felt like they were following us, that they were right behind us, chasing. We ran for what felt like forever, lungs burning, legs aching, hearts pounding like war drums in our chests. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours, until finally, we saw something ahead. A structure, old, falling apart, but real, a gas station. Relief crashed over us as we slowed down, stumbling toward it. It looked like one of those old full-service stations from decades ago, abandoned by time, barely holding together. The windows were dusty, the paint was peeling, the sign above the entrance was faded beyond recognition. Still, it was something. We stepped inside. The air was stale and thick with dust. The shelves were mostly empty, covered in grime, as if no one had touched them in years. And behind the counter sat a man. He was unsettling. His skin was overly tanned, almost leathery. He wore a filthy baseball cap stained with oil and dirt. In his hands was an old book with yellowed pages and torn edges. He slowly looked up at us. His eyes lingered for just a second too long. Then he spoke. "You boys lost, huh?" His voice was rough, almost amused. Jason stepped forward quickly. "Yeah, we got turned around in the woods. Can you tell us how to get back to the main road?" The man stared at us for a moment, then smirked. "Sure,
he said slowly. "Just head back the way you came, make a left, keep going till you see a telephone pole." He paused, then added, "When you reach the pole, take a right down the trail. That'll lead you to a highway." Something about the way he said it didn't feel right, but we didn't question it. We thanked him quickly and left. The second we stepped outside, the tension returned. We began walking again, following his directions. But after a few steps, I couldn't help myself. I looked back, and my blood ran cold. The man was no longer inside. He was standing outside the gas station, arms folded, watching us. That same twisted grin stretched across his face, revealing a row of crooked, rotting teeth. He didn't wave, didn't speak, just stared, like he knew something we didn't. I turned away immediately, my chest tightening. "Don't look back," I muttered. We walked faster and faster until finally we saw something ahead, a telephone pole, right where he said it would be. We exchanged a quick glance, then turned right into the trail and disappeared into the darkness.
The trail beyond the telephone pole felt wrong, narrow, uneven, almost like it wasn't meant to be used anymore. Branches scratched against our arms as we pushed forward, the fading light barely guiding our steps. The sky above had shifted into a deep twilight, and the forest around us seemed to grow darker with every passing second. No one spoke, not because we didn't want to, but because it felt like something was listening. Every sound we made, every snapped twig, every heavy breath echoed unnaturally through the trees. It felt like we weren't alone. After what felt like an endless walk, the trees finally began to thin out. And then we saw it. A highway. The sight hit us like a wave of relief. We practically stumbled out of the forest and onto the roadside, gasping for breath, covered in dirt and sweat. "We made it," Brian whispered. But the relief didn't last long. Cars passed by, one after another. We waved, shouted, tried everything, but no one stopped. It was like we were invisible, or worse, like they didn't want to stop. Darkness fully settled in now, wrapping the road in shadows. The headlights of passing cars only made things more unsettling, flashing across our faces before disappearing into the night. Just when we started to lose hope, a police car appeared. Its headlights slowed, then stopped beside us. The officer rolled down his window, eyeing us carefully. "You boys all right?" I've never felt relief like that in my life. "Yes, sir, we're lost," Jason said quickly. "We were hiking and ended up way off track." The officer stepped out of the car, shining his flashlight briefly over us. "You're a long way from anywhere," he said. Jason gave him his home address. The officer let out a low whistle. "Yeah, you weren't even close." We climbed into the back of the patrol car, exhausted beyond words. As the car started moving, the tension slowly began to fade, but not completely. Something still felt off. During the drive, the officer tried to make small talk. "So, where exactly did you boys come from?" Jason hesitated, then said, "We followed a river, found an old church, and then a gas station." The officer didn't respond right away. That silence again. Then finally, he spoke. "You boys need to be real careful out in those woods." His tone changed. It wasn't casual anymore. "There are people out there," he continued slowly. "Been around a long time." I felt my stomach tighten. "What kind of people?" Brian asked. The officer glanced at us in the rearview mirror. "Folks around here call them witch people." The words hung in the air like a curse. "Stay away from places that don't feel right, especially ones that look abandoned but aren't." No one said another word after that. About 30 minutes later, we finally arrived back at Jason's house. Safe. Or at least we thought we were. That night, none of us slept. Every creak of the house, every whisper of wind outside felt like something was watching, waiting. And even now, years later, I still can't shake the feeling that those people in the church weren't done with us.
This next part of the story has already stolen the sleep of many. Where are you sitting right now as you listen to this mysterious tale? Alone in a dark room or somewhere crowded? Don't forget to let us know in the comments how scared you are at this moment. And for those who have just stepped into our world of mystery today, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to subscribe now. And if you're watching from Facebook, follow our page and become a part of our chilling family. Now, let's return to that turning point in the story, from where coming back is almost impossible. Let's hear the rest of the story. This happened about 8 years ago, back when doing reckless things felt like the only way to escape boredom. I was 19 years old, living in a quiet town in New Jersey with my 2 friends, James and Sean. We weren't exactly the kind of guys who thought things through. If something sounded risky, creepy, or just plain stupid, we were already halfway committed. At the edge of our town, up a steep and isolated hill, there was an abandoned church. Everyone knew about it. Locals avoided it, especially at night. The road leading up to it had been officially closed off years ago, but that never stopped people from sneaking up there. The place had a reputation, not just for being abandoned, but for feeling wrong. Naturally, that made us want to go even more. One night in October, with cold air settling in and Halloween around the corner, Sean came up with an idea that should have been an immediate red flag. "Let's bring a Ouija board," he said with a grin. James laughed. I should have said no, but I didn't. Sean had one in his closet. He claimed it was just a game, something he'd messed around with before. But the way he said it, the way he looked at us, it didn't feel like a joke. Still, we went along with it. That night, I picked them both up in my car. The roads were quiet, almost empty, as we drove toward the hill. The deeper we went, the more isolated it felt. No streetlights, no houses, just darkness pressing in from all sides. When we reached the blocked road, we parked on the side and got out. The silence hit us immediately. No wind, no insects, nothing. Just stillness. We turned on one flashlight at first, trying not to draw attention, though honestly there was no one around to notice. As we started walking up the hill, our footsteps echoed unnaturally on the cracked pavement. Halfway up, James muttered, "This place feels off already." No one disagreed. When we finally reached the top, the church came into view. It stood there like a forgotten relic, surrounded by dense woods in every direction. The structure was worn down, covered in graffiti, with broken windows that looked like empty eye sockets staring into darkness. A gravel parking lot stretched beside it, littered with debris. The front door was slightly open, like it was waiting for us. We exchanged a glance. Then, without saying a word, we approached it. The door groaned loudly as we pushed it open, the sound echoing through the empty building. Or, at least, we thought it was empty. Inside, the air was cold and stale, carrying a faint smell of rot and dust. We swept our flashlights across the room. Broken pews, scattered trash, graffiti-covered walls. No people, no movement. But still, it didn't feel empty. Sean stepped forward, pulling the Ouija board out of his backpack. He said, "This is perfect." Perfect. That word didn't sit right with me. He placed the board on the floor near the center of the room, then reached back into his bag and pulled out 3 candles. "Just to make it more authentic," he said with a smirk. He set them in a triangle around the board and lit them one by one. The flickering flames cast long, distorted shadows across the walls. We turned off our flashlights, and just like that, darkness swallowed everything beyond a few feet. The only light left was from those 3 trembling flames. We sat down around the board, placed our fingers on the planchette, and waited. The silence became unbearable. Then Sean spoke. "Is there anyone here with us?" At first, nothing happened. But then, slowly, the planchette began to move.
The candles flickered weakly, their flames trembling as if reacting to something we couldn't see. The entire church was swallowed in darkness beyond that small circle of light. The air felt heavy, thick, like it hadn't been disturbed in years. Sean leaned forward slightly, his fingers resting on the planchette. "Is anyone here with us?" he whispered. At first, nothing happened. Then slowly, the planchette moved. A sharp breath escaped from all three of us. It slid across the board, hesitating, then spelling out something unclear. I let out a nervous laugh. "Okay, which one of you is messing around?" "Not me," Sean said quickly. James shook his head. "I'm not touching it." But we all were. That's what made it worse. We continued anyway, asking questions, half joking, half serious. The planchette kept moving, forming broken, meaningless words. Still, something felt off. Then, crack, the sound exploded through the church. Loud, sudden, violent, like a thick piece of wood snapping in half. All three of us jumped. "What the hell was that?" James whispered, his voice shaking. We grabbed our flashlights and shined them towards the altar. The beam of light cut through the darkness, but showed nothing. No movement, no person, just the old broken structure of the church. I tried to steady my breathing. "It's probably just the building. It's falling apart." No one looked convinced. But we didn't leave. That was our mistake. We turned back to the board. This time, quieter, more serious. Sean swallowed hard. "Is something here with us?" The planchette didn't move. Seconds passed, then minutes. The silence grew unbearable. And just when we thought it was over, crack. Again, louder, closer. Before we could even react, something flew out of the darkness and landed right on the Ouija board. We all screamed and jerked back. It was a rock, about the size of a golf ball. It hadn't rolled, it hadn't dropped, it had been thrown. There was no doubt. All three of us had our hands on the planchette moments before. None of us could have done that, which meant someone else was in there, watching us, waiting. Fear took over instantly. "Run!" Sean shouted. We didn't argue. We scrambled to our feet and bolted toward the exit, knocking over candles as we went. The flames flickered wildly before going out, plunging the church back into complete darkness. Behind us, we thought we heard something. Movement, footsteps, or maybe something worse. We didn't stop to find out. We ran out of the church, down the hill, through the cold night air, our hearts pounding like they were about to burst. None of us dared to look back, because deep down, we all felt it. Whatever was in that church wasn't happy we were there. We didn't stop running until we reached the car. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely get the keys into the ignition. The engine finally roared to life, and without saying a word, I slammed my foot on the gas. We sped away from that hill like something was chasing us. Maybe something was. The entire ride back to James's house was filled with silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. The kind where no one wants to be the first to speak, because saying it out loud would make it real. Finally, after what felt like forever, we pulled into his driveway, but none of us got out. We just sat there, in the car, breathing hard, staring ahead. "What was that?" James finally whispered. No one answered immediately. Sean leaned back in his seat, his face pale. He said, "We contacted something," quietly. "I told you this wasn't a joke." I shook my head quickly. No, that doesn't make sense. Someone was in there with us. They threw that rock." But even as I said it, it didn't feel convincing. "Then where were they?" Sean shot back. We checked the place. There was no one. He wasn't wrong, and that's what made it worse. We sat there for nearly half an hour, going over every possibility. None of them felt right. None of them explained what we saw, what we heard, what we felt. Eventually, we all went inside, but sleep didn't come easy that night. For me, it didn't come at all. The next day, Sean made a decision. He wanted his Ouija board back. I told him it was a terrible idea. James agreed, but Sean wouldn't listen. So the two of them went back. In broad daylight, they drove up the same road, walked the same path, climbed the same hill. But this time, the place felt different. Too quiet, too still, like the church was waiting. The front door was exactly how we left it, slightly open, creaking softly as they pushed it inside. Sunlight poured in through broken windows, lighting up the dust-covered floor. And there it was, the setup from the night before. The 3 candles still stood in a triangle, melted wax frozen in place, exactly as we left them. But something was missing. The Ouija board was gone, completely gone. Sean searched the entire area, every corner, every broken pew. Nothing. It had vanished, like it had never been there. James told him they needed to leave, immediately. And this time, Sean didn't argue. They got out of that church as fast as they could, and neither of them ever went back again. To this day, we still talk about that night, trying to explain it, trying to make sense of it. But no matter how many times we go over it, one question always remains. If no one else was in that church, then who or what threw that rock?
This next part of the story has already stolen the sleep of many. Where are you sitting right now as you listen to this mysterious tale? Alone in a dark room or somewhere crowded? Don't forget to let us know in the comments how scared you are at this moment. And for those who have just stepped into our world of mystery today, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to subscribe now. And if you're watching from Facebook, follow our page and become a part of our chilling family. Now, let's return to that turning point in the story, from where coming back is almost impossible. Let's hear the rest of the story.
This happened in Warren County, Georgia, a quiet, rural place where the roads stretch endlessly and the silence feels just a little too deep. I was there with my girlfriend, Marissa. We were thinking about moving somewhere peaceful, somewhere away from the noise of the city. Open land, fresh air, maybe even space for her horses. Marissa had always loved horseback riding, and finding a place with a barn was one of her biggest dreams. That day, we were driving around, checking out different properties for sale. Everything felt calm, almost too calm. There weren't many cars on the road, no people walking, just long stretches of empty land and scattered houses in the distance. It felt isolated, but in a way we thought we wanted. After visiting a few properties, we turned onto a smaller road. That's when we saw it, a small church. It sat quietly by the roadside, simple and almost charming in appearance. There was nothing obviously wrong about it at first glance, but one detail stood out: the parking lot. It was full of cars, old cars. Most of them looked like they were from decades ago: faded paint, worn-out exteriors, a few vans, a couple of sedans, all parked in an uneven arrangement, like they'd been left there for a long time. Marissa nudged me. "Maybe there's a service going on," she said. "Let's check it out." We were both Roman Catholic, and she especially liked attending Mass whenever she could, so I pulled into the dirt parking lot. As we stepped out of the car, I couldn't shake a strange feeling. "Notice anything weird?" I asked. Marissa looked around. "The cars? Yeah, they're all old." She shrugged slightly. "Probably just a lower income area." Maybe she was right, but it didn't explain the feeling creeping up my spine. We walked up to the entrance. The door was closed. I reached out and pushed it open. It creaked softly, and we stepped inside. The interior was small, just as we expected. About 5 rows of wooden pews, split down the middle by a narrow aisle.
There were around 20 people sitting inside, but something felt off immediately. Too quiet. There was no singing, no priest speaking, just silence. Heavy, uncomfortable silence. We quietly took a seat in the back, trying not to disturb anything. At first, no one reacted. Then, one person turned around, just slightly. They looked directly at us. Then another, and another. One by one, like a slow ripple moving through the room, people began turning their heads, until eventually, everyone was staring at us. Their expressions were blank, cold, unwelcoming. Marissa shifted nervously beside me. I forced a small smile, but no one smiled back. That's when I noticed something disturbing. No one was dressed for a church service. No formal clothes, no signs of preparation. And then, something even worse. There were no women, not a single one, except Marissa. I felt my chest tighten. "This isn't right," I whispered. Before we could even decide what to do, a man stepped forward from the front of the room. He was wearing a mask. Not a costume mask, something plain, expressionless, unsettling. He stood where the altar should have been, but there was no cross, no religious symbols, nothing. He slowly raised his hand and pointed directly at us. "Who invited you here?" he asked. His voice was calm, too calm. I swallowed hard and answered, trying to keep my voice steady. We were just passing by. We thought a mass was happening." The man didn't move, didn't react. Then he said, "You need to leave." The way he said it wasn't a suggestion. It was a warning. Every single person in that room was still staring at us, not blinking, not moving, just watching, waiting. I turned to Marissa. "Let's go." We stood up immediately and walked, almost rushed toward the exit. No one tried to stop us. But as we reached the door, I could feel it. All those eyes still locked onto us. We stepped outside, and the moment the door shut behind us, we both exhaled, like we had just escaped something we didn't fully understand. But deep down, we knew that place wasn't a church, and whatever was happening inside, we were never supposed to see.
The moment we got back into the car, I locked the doors without thinking. My hands were slightly shaking as I gripped the steering wheel. Marissa looked at me, her voice low. "That wasn't a church." "No, not even close." I started the engine and pulled out of the dirt parking lot faster than I normally would have. Gravel crunched loudly beneath the tires as we drove back onto the empty road. For a few seconds, it felt like we were safe. Then Marissa spoke again. "Don't look now." That sentence never means anything good. "What?" I asked. She turned slightly, glancing into the side mirror. "One of them just got into a van." My chest tightened. I forced myself not to panic. It's probably nothing. Maybe they're just leaving too. But deep down, I didn't believe that. I checked the rearview mirror, and there it was, a gray van slowly pulling out of the church parking lot. For a moment, it stayed at a distance. Then it turned onto the same road as us and started following. Not speeding, not aggressive, just there, always there. "That's not a coincidence," Marissa whispered. "No," I said, "it's not." The road ahead stretched empty and silent. No other cars, no houses nearby. Just us and that van behind us. I pressed the gas pedal a little harder. The van matched our speed. Not getting closer, not falling behind, just maintaining distance, watching, following. Marissa quickly pulled out her phone. "I'm putting in the nearest police station." "Do it," I said immediately. Her fingers moved fast across the screen. "Warren County Sheriff's Office, about 15 minutes away." "Good, we're going there." I didn't care if it made us look paranoid. At that point, I knew something wasn't right. We drove in tense silence, the only sound being the engine and the faint hum of tires on the road. Every few seconds, I checked the mirror. Still there, that gray van, unmoving, unblinking, like a shadow that refused to disappear. "What do they want?" Marissa whispered. I didn't answer, because I didn't know, and I wasn't sure I wanted to. The road twisted slightly, leading us through more isolated land. The sunlight had started to fade just enough to make everything feel dimmer, more unsettling. Then finally, we saw it. A building ahead. The sheriff's office. Relief hit me instantly. "Hold on," I said, pressing the gas a little more. We pulled into the parking lot without hesitation. The moment the car stopped, I looked in the mirror again. The van kept going. It didn't slow down, didn't turn in, just drove past the station, like it had never been following us at all. We sat there in silence, both of us trying to process what just happened. "Did you see that?" Marissa asked. "Yeah," I said slowly. "They didn't even stop." "No." And somehow that made it worse, because it meant one thing. They weren't trying to confront us. They were just making sure we left. We sat in the parking lot of the sheriff's office for a long time. Neither of us spoke at first. The engine was still running, but everything else felt frozen. Marissa finally broke the silence. "We should tell someone." I nodded. "Yeah, we should." But when I looked toward the building, something stopped me. A strange hesitation. Because how do you explain something like that? A church with no crosses, no women, a masked man, and a group of people who silently watched you like prey. Still, we went inside. The officer at the front desk listened carefully as we explained everything. At first, he seemed neutral, professional, but the more details we gave, the more his expression changed, especially when I mentioned the mask. He leaned back slightly, eyes narrowing. "You said there were only men?" he asked. "Yes," I replied. "Every single one." "And they told you to leave immediately?" "Yeah." The officer exchanged a quick glance with another deputy nearby. That silent look said more than words ever could. Finally, he looked back at us. "You did the right thing by coming here," he said, "and you were smart to leave when you did." Marissa's voice trembled slightly. "What was that place?" The officer hesitated, then said carefully, "There are groups out in these rural areas, not officially recognized, not exactly legal either." My stomach tightened. What kind of groups? He didn't answer directly. Instead, he said, "They keep to themselves and they don't like outsiders." That wasn't reassuring. "Were we in danger?" I asked. This time, he didn't hesitate. "Yes." The word hit hard. "If they followed you," he continued, "it wasn't random. They wanted to make sure you didn't come back or bring attention to them." Marissa grabbed my hand tightly. I could feel how cold her fingers were. "What would have happened if we stayed?" she asked quietly. The officer looked at us for a moment, then shook his head. "You don't want to know." We left the station shortly after, but the feeling didn't leave us. Even on the drive home, every passing vehicle made me tense. Every shadow felt like it was watching us. That night, we barely slept. Every small sound felt amplified. Every creak of the house, every whisper of wind outside felt like something lingering just beyond sight, waiting, watching. The next morning, we made a decision. We weren't moving there. Not anymore. Whatever that place was, whatever those people were doing, we wanted no part of it. Even now, I still think about that day, about that church, about those silent faces, and that masked man pointing at us like we had broken some unseen rule. But the thing that stays with me the most is the way they all stared. Not angry, not surprised, just cold, empty. Like we weren't people to them, like we were something else entirely, something that didn't belong. And maybe they were right, because deep down, I know one thing for sure. We didn't just walk into the wrong place that day. We walked into something we were never meant to see.
And here is the end of today's scary story. The night is still young, and those mysterious shadows around are still waiting for you.
Stay with us for more such creepy experiences. If you are watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. And if you are watching on Facebook, follow the page to get updates on every next mystery. Be careful, because fear can surround you at any time. See you in the next story.